Hi, I'm John. Welcome to Twig Archery. Hey, today we're going to be covering the Samick line of bows that we carry here at Twig Archery. But first of all, before I get into the bows itself, I just wanted everybody out there to know a little bit about Twig Archery. And I know a lot of people do. But Twig Archery was founded in 1988 by my wife Gail and I. And I was a custom wood arrow builder since that time. I've been in archery my whole life since I was a little kid. And archery and wood arrows were just, wood was my thing, kind of like, I must run in a family. My grandfather and father were really into the wood, building homes, woodworking, stuff like that. So I guess it just kind of fell into me that way. But anyways, that's how the business got started. And basically we were just building wood arrows years ago. But then we got into, of course, bows, because bows, recurves and long bows go with the wood arrows and the accessories. So, but over the years, here's a little list that I kind of made up, and because I could never remember all these in my head, but here's some of the bows that I've shot and owned in my lifetime that I could remember. And I'm sure I left some of them off the list here, but these are the bows I've shot. Ossenheimers, Norm Johnson Blacktail, Black Widows, Dale Dye, Groves, Hill Country, Bob Lee, Browning, Bear, Martin Howitt, Great Tree, Pearson, Win and Win, Trad Tech Pinnacle, Shakespeare bows, wing bows, York bows, Herder's bows, Regime bows, Indian bows, Jack Howard Game Master Jet, Two Rivers Self bows, and Three Rivers Tomahawk Diamond longbows, and don't want to forget the Moose Eye longbows I've shot in the past. And these are just, that's kind of a pretty long list, but there's probably some off there I'm sure I might have missed, but just so you know that I've shot a lot of bows, and I kind of have that feel. And you know, I guess what the bottom line is, you just have to take my word for what I'm going to say here, because I'm going to talk about these Samick bows here shortly. But a lot of people over the years have asked me why Samick can build such a nice bow for the cost. And it's pretty, when you really look at the history of Samick, it's pretty simple. They've been building Olympic style bows for years. And for instance, this came off of a big poster I have in the office in my shop, and 100% of archery gold medal winners in the 2004 Athens Olympics were all Samick target bows. 9 out of 12 of all possible medal winners in the 2008 Beijing Olympic used Samick bows. So Samick really has a knowledge of building bows, and that plays a big part into how they can get this performance out of these bows. Yeah, maybe cosmetically some of them are off a little bit, but they're still a very good performing bow for what it costs. And over the years, basically starting around, I think around 2006, I started looking around trying to find inexpensive bows, because my whole goal was to get people into archery. That's been my whole thing. And but I couldn't find the bow I was looking for. So we finally found out about the Samick Sage, which pretty much anybody that's looked anywhere would know pretty much about the Samick Sage. And we'll cover the Samick Sage here in just a moment. But first I want to start out with this bow over here to my far right here. This is a Polaris bow, which is really nice bow for a beginner. It has white glass limbs on it, and just a really nice starter type bow. Men, women, it doesn't matter. Even teenagers, fine. It's a 62-inch bow, and it comes in kind of a wide range of poundages. And then when you get into this here, for instance, this is Gail's bow here. Gail's bow has a Polaris riser on it, but I went ahead and put the Samick Sage limbs on it. So they're all interchangeable. And the reason I did that is because the Samick Sage limbs are a little bit better, a little bit more expensive than the Polaris limbs, because you can put a fast flight string on the Samick Sage limbs. But you can see how they're interchangeable. So Gail's bow, you know, looks nice too. I mean, they're both just nice shooting bows. Is this going to perform a little better? It will if you have that fast flight string on there. So this year, Samick has come out with a few new bows, and they've discontinued a few bows. But in this case, this is a one-piece new Sage, a Samick Sage one-piece. Really a nice little bow. Very light in the hand. Of course, it's not drilled or anything. It's got a real nice logo right there that's put in there by Samick, stating they started building, what is it, 1975. So looks real nice in there, and really a nice little performing bow. Great shooting little bow. You can check around and see the reviews on it around the country, and I think you'll see some real good reviews coming from this. There's not too many reviews out there right now because this is a very new model, just came out. So next we go into the Samick Sage, which pretty much anybody that's looked around at all for a bow would find that the Samick Sage is like probably the largest selling bow in the world. I mean, over the last 5 years, I have no clue how many they built, but I do know that in 012, 013, they were very hard to get because they just couldn't keep up with the demand. There was more demand for the bows than they could even imagine and handle. Of course, the Samick Sage is drilled for different things, whereas your totally traditional style bows, like the one piece, has no drilling inserts or anything like that. And this is the true traditional style. This would be a little bit more modern, I guess you'd call it, because you do have the inserts for the either quiver or sights here with your burger button inserts or plunger button, whatever you want to call it. But of course, we all know the Samick Sage has been a great performing bow. For the cost of this bow, it's been phenomenal. I mean, you just can't beat it. Now, the big brother to the Samick Sage would, of course, be right here. And this would be the Journey. Journey's just, there again, a great bow. I love shooting a Journey. And most of the videos I've done, shooting balloons or whatever I was doing, have all been done with the Samick Sage. But I also do like shooting this, although I'm kind of limited in my shooting over the last so many years because of my shoulders. I've had a lot of shoulder issues, but that's a whole nother story. But the Journey's a 64-inch bow rather than a 62, so therefore it's real nice if a guy's got a 31-inch, 32-inch draw. It will feel a little bit nicer to him. Although I've had a lot of guys say they pulled the Sage back to 30 inches with no problems at all. So Journey, great shooting bow. Discontinued model, but Twig Archery has a lot. I knew this was a great shooting bow, so I tried to stock up somewhat on the inventory because I just didn't want to see this bow go away. It's just too nice, too nice a shooting bow. And next, of course, then we get into the RED STAG. The RED STAG is just, I mean, it's almost off the charts as far as I'm concerned. As far as excellent shooting bow, it's 60 inches long. It's got walnut with rosewood and maple laminations up through the center. This is a solid piece on the belly side, and on the back side we got laminations of walnut through here. And but just overall, the design of the bow is just, you know, super nice and makes for a great shooting bow. My understanding has been this bow has been discontinued. There again, Twig Archery has a large supply of these because there again, I bought in because I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to get these anymore. And I know what a beautiful bow this makes with this walnut and rosewood riser. And my understanding has been the bow has been discontinued because they just couldn't get the woods that they wanted anymore. They couldn't get this the rosewood through the center and apparently the walnut. so which are fairly expensive woods, especially the rosewood through the center. And so there again, Twig Archery has bought in pretty large quantity of these, so we can continue to carry these for some time yet. And basically the replacement to that bow, because this bow was such a nice shooting bow, and of course Samick knew it because of feedback from everybody around the country and the world, that they stuck with the same exact design right here. The riser is identical. If you lay these on each other, they're identical the way they're cut. So therefore, the limbs themselves are interchangeable. This would be the newest model here. This is the Samick Sage Deluxe model. And same deal. Great shooting bow, just like the Red Stag. They're almost identical, other than the risers, because they ran out of the wood here. They had to go to the oak and the diamond wood, which was back to the original Samick Sage. So the Samick Sage line will all look the same, and they all have basically the same structure through the center. The design of the riser may be different, but the woods in there are the same. So, and what I've done at Twig Archery is, because I didn't want to see these risers here go, or you know, you couldn't get them anymore. So what I've done is I purchased in a large quantity of these risers here, and the Red Stag risers, and on this particular bow, now I have Sage Deluxe limbs put on there. So we kind of call it the Red Sage. It's the Red Stag riser with the Sage Deluxe limbs on it, which would be the same limbs as what's mounted right here. So, and they fit on there perfectly, because like I say, they didn't change the design of anything here on their CNC machines when they mill out these risers. So it's worked out real good. But this is such a nice looking riser with the walnut. I'm not saying this isn't. This is a nice looking riser also. A lot of compliments on this riser. But the walnut with that rosewood, just, you know, really nice. And of course, once they're gone, then that's it. They're gone. Now locally, I have a friend of mine who's a custom boyer. Matter of fact, just the other day, he stopped in the shop, and I handed him this riser right here, which is the Red Stag riser. And I asked him, what do you think of this riser? Because he's a custom builder, builds custom bows. And you can buy a lot of custom bows right in the United States, and you're talking some pretty good money, you know, $400-500 up to probably $2,000, maybe even more than that. So he looked at the riser over. He didn't say nothing at first. He just looked it over. He said, "John, this is a $200 riser all day long." He says, "I just don't know how it can possibly be done," because in his opinion, he really couldn't do this himself because of the labor factor and these woods that are in here. So very nice walnut and rosewood riser with the maple laminations through the center, and this makes for, you know, a great looking bow, and a great shooting bow. 60-inch of the Red Stag, the Red Stag Deluxe, or what we call the Red Sage. All identical, except for the riser on the Deluxe here, Sage Deluxe. But the limbs are identical. All these limbs are interchangeable here. Kind of same as what we had down here with the Polaris and the Sage limbs, I'm trying to think of. So anyways, I think I covered about everything I wanted to. I just kind of wanted to familiarize everybody with kind of what's going on a little bit, from what I can gather what's going on as far as why this bow was discontinued. But we have a very good inventory on these risers, and of course the new Deluxe, we also have that in stock, and the one piece we have in stock, and we have them all. And that pretty much takes care of it. And I guess the only thing I wanted to do, let me think, I've got to check my paper. I guess the only other thing I can think of here is I just wanted to give a shout out to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I didn't think I'd see it in my lifetime, but congratulations to Cleveland Cavaliers. Thanks a lot for joining us today. Shoot twig, score big. Catch ya.